Hey, what's up, guys? I'm John, sustainable fashion designer. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. Last week, we spoke about these two sewing machines. Um, if you haven't seen this video, please check it out. I'll link it to this video. But today, we're going to talk about threading the sewing machine. And we're also going to talk about the difference between the bobbins and difference between the sewing machine. So let's dive right into it. So starting out this week, before we talk about the sewing machine, I have to tell you a story. Yesterday, a friend of mine got a sewing machine gifted, and she immediately thought that, sewing was something that she could dive into, that it would be easy. I think she's a bit impatient. She would agree to that. And yeah, her needle broke and her threads and everything just got messed up. And at one point, she thought that her bobbin was even broken. She sent me pictures. So what I'm trying to say in this is that if you have a sewing machine or just got a sewing machine, just starting out sewing, know that sewing isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. It is really something that takes time. It's something that you have to learn, whether it's through books, through YouTubes, through, taking classes. It's not something that you can pick up and do immediately. And I don't think anything actually is that way. You have to learn everything. Like, you really need to, dive into it and learn about it to be able to do it decently. And sewing is definitely one of those things. So let's dive into the sewing machine. How to thread your sewing machine. That's the topic that we're going to deal with today. So let's start with the Singer. It's my go-to machine, as I showed you in earlier videos. So let's go into this and I'll show you the things that you need to understand when threading your machine. Yeah, so there you guys are. I think this angle is good, to see what I'm doing. So right here, I'll show you guys the Singer. It's already thread. I'll remove that. So showing you guys how your machine would look if you recently bought it. So I'm just using thread. Actually, this is polyester thread. You can get it in cotton, just your regular thread. As I mentioned, with the Singer, you have the bobbin on the top, which is quite easy. I'll remove that as well. This is your bobbin thread, as they call it. Like I told you before, this one is plastic. And yeah, it's pretty much, we'll talk about the stitches in later videos. I think the video will be too long if I talk about that. But this is how your machine would be. I want these videos to be authentic as possible. So let me put the regular presser foot, because I was working on a project where I needed zipper presser foots. So yeah. So these are the different bobbins. Like I said, it's top. I prefer to do the bobbin first. So the bobbin, you put it in. Actually, with the Singer, it's just so easy. So you place the bobbin right here. So you place your bobbin in, you put it in, and down here you have like this loop, and then you place it to the back. That's how easy it is. The top thread is placed on this. Right here you have this thing on the top. That's where you place your top thread. And all of these things come with the machine, so you don't have to buy it separately. This right here is placed here so that your thread doesn't come off. And looking on the top of your machine, like I explained in the video last week, I'll put it here on the top. You can see all these directions. So it actually tells you where to go. So the first loop, put it in the first loop right here. And then you put it in a loop here. On top, you go through, curl under. Make sure this, on the side, you have where you can place your needle up and down. So if you see me moving on the side, you can see that it goes up and down. Make sure this is on top. So after you come to the loop, and you can see numbers. So there's a number 1, 2, 3, 4. So it actually directs you to where you need to go. Through this is number 5. Under, you can see this thing right here. Hold it like tight like this. Then you place it in between so that it catches that loop. And then you go This is your thread, and sometimes it's difficult. So what I tend to do, I use my cutter and I cut it like this. So not like this, but like this. It makes it, I believe, and maybe that's just something in my head, it makes it sharper. I make sure that my needle is as high as possible. So I put it up with this thing on the side, put our thread through the hole. And for some people, this is a difficult part, you know, but what I'm saying, over the years, you learn it. So actually try to get your thumb as close to the end as possible. So you have more, you have more sturdiness, more control, and then it's easy to put it through. And some machines, you even have like this drop down thing. I believe it's on the Singer as well, but I've never used it, where it actually helps you to thread. And once that's done, you can see that my thread is in there. You can see that my thread is in there. I put it through and to the back. And once to the back, I hold it. This is very important. So when you hold it, and my bobbin thread is to the side, my top thread I'm holding right now, when you pull it down and you drop your needle, so just by the hand you drop your needle, once your needle is up, and what's going to happen is there's going to be a loop. So maybe you guys can see that I'm just holding my phone in my hand, but you can see that a loop is formed. You see that? So the top thread actually catches the bottom thread, which is black in this case. Sorry guys, I should have used other colors, but the top thread actually catches the bottom thread. And what we just did is take it through and pull it out. And now it should make more sense, because now both threads are out to the back. So the top thread, this one, it should be like that, right? It came to the side. But the bobbin thread, and that's where a lot of mistakes are made, the bottom thread should come through, not through the side, which you saw before, but now because of the loop, it came here. So what I do right now, I close it. So now that our machine is thread, let's go ahead and give it a quick test. So you can just take a scrap piece that you have laying around, put it down. I put in my needle first. I do 2 stitch front, back stitch to secure it, and then just go ahead, pull it out, cut it off, and as you can see, the top stitch and the bottom stitch. This is the thread, the bottom stitch, the black one, the bobbin, and the top stitch, that's your top thread. So let's quickly move on to the next sewing machine. This is the Lewenstein that I have in front of me. And as I told you before, this has like an iron bobbin. And you can see that this is completely different, right? It's on the bottom instead of on the top compared to the Singer. All right, guys, let's do the bobbin first. So this is the bobbin, this is the bobbin thread. And as you can see, for this machine, it's an iron one. I put it in there, just drop it in there and make sure that you have this part coming out. And in between, you can see like a little slit. You make sure that your thread is going through that slit, going through and coming out of the front. So this is where you want to have it eventually, coming out through the front, right? And when we put it in our machine, we're going to place it on top and you're going to hear a click. Yeah, so this is actually how it looks, right? And that's probably what you see in your machine. I just showed you how to thread it. Make sure that this thread is coming through that slit. I'm going to place it in there and I'm going to get you guys closer. You see that on top? You see that place that it has to go into. When you hear the click, that's a good sound. You heard that click? So let's do a quick top thread and then let's start sewing. I'll take the blue thread, just put it on top right here and follow the lines. Put it through here. I mean, this is an older machine, so it might look a little different. Here, actually, you bring it through here. This is where the tension is. You wrap it around. Like I said with the Singer, you bring this thing on top. Yep, it's right there. Through that. The same way, I put my finger like this. I make sure it goes through that. So the top thread is blue, and I bring it through the needle. The needle is already up, so I don't have to do that. I hold this one right here, and if you can see, you'll see this thing moving. You might not catch it from the camera angle, but you can see that is moving. What it's actually doing, it's bringing up, like with the Singer, it's bringing up that bottom thread. You can see that this one came through. Let me get you guys a little closer. You can see what happened. This thread actually came through, and they're both to the back. So your machine, your older machine, it might take some time to get it under control, or get used to it, but I think pretty much all machines, they thread. So from threading to putting in the bobbin correctly, just making sure that this clicks, that's pretty much the trick. Yeah, so I'm just closing this bad boy up. So these are the 2 stitches, front, back stitch, and pull this up, and you can see it's more clear. So this is the last stitch I made with the distance of the stitch length of 3. This was on stitch length of 1, and this is with the Singer. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you learned something in the video, and remember, sewing, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Even to this day, even to this morning, I learned something while sewing. So it's just something that you keep on learning. It's a skill. So you have to practice, you'll get better, and you'll learn. And that's the beauty of it. I think the beauty is the journey, not the destination. So thank you guys so much again for tuning in. Please comment below, so that it should be an interaction. I want these videos to be raw, unedited. I want you guys to see the real me. But please have that interaction. Please comment below, even if it's terrible. Like comment below, I hate this video, because even that is a comment. So, or even that is some type of input. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm John Fitzgerald. I leave you with these 4 words: be more fearless. And if you liked and enjoyed this video, I'm sure you'll enjoy this one somewhere right here.